Welcome back everybody. Today I'm pretty excited because I'm back at my favourite mini ramp in Taunton, and today I was thinking of refreshing the Smith Stall. Now, I first learnt these a while back on smaller ramps with a view to being able to develop that Smith Stall into a Smith grind, which was one of my dream tricks. One of the best features of this ramp is the proud coping, and I thought I would cash in on that proud coping and try locking into a few Smith stalls. So to start out, I'm going to warm up with a few frontside axle stalls. Again, I haven't done these for a good while. I've been favouring doing the frontside 50-50 grind lately, and I've fallen out of practice with just doing the standard frontside axle stall. I find that with any trick, if I leave it too long, basically it feels like I'm going back to being a beginner again. So enough of my yakking, let's get in there and try a few frontside axle stalls. Okay, those are feeling pretty good. It's quite scary coming back in, and I had a job to commit to it. Just with that proud coping, I'm fearful of the hang-up, and this mini ramp's just a little bit taller than the mini ramps I usually skate, so that adds to the fear factor. I found as I came up, I just needed to square my shoulders off, keep my knees slightly bent, and also try and keep my weight inside the ramp, and that gave me somewhere to push off of to come back in. And the key to getting a nice clean re-entry was just to push hard on that back heel, and that made sure that that toe side wheel cleared over the coping as I pivoted back in. Next up, I'm going to try a few Fakie frontside Smith stalls, just because I find those easier to lock into. And my idea here is to try and isolate coming back in, which is the scariest part of the frontside Smith stall. Okay, I'm finding getting the lock in pretty straightforward. I'm just trying to keep that back knee bent, trying to extend my front foot out in front of me and keep my weight centered over the board. Coming back in is a bit nerve-wracking, and again, once I got my weight balanced, I found I could concentrate on pushing all my weight through that back heel whilst popping up the front foot in a sort of micro ollie fashion, and that helped to clear that toe side wheel and got a clean pop back in. Next up, I'm going to put it all together and attempt that frontside Smith stall. Okay, managed to get a couple to come back in. That was pretty scary. Coming up, I found I needed to just relax my pivot. To start with, I was going too hard into the pivot, and that was forcing the heel side wheel to skip off of the coping. Next thing, I needed to just keep my back leg slightly bent and commit more inside the ramp, whilst keeping my shoulders square in line with the coping. I found that if I just extended my front knee just a little bit, that helped the board to dip down, and that helped to maintain my centre of balance over the board so I didn't tip forwards back into the ramp. Once everything was locked in and balanced up, it was just a case of committing to coming back in. And I had a little bit of a problem with this. It was pretty scary. And even though I had the perfect lock in and I was balanced, I just kept jumping off. I found a little trick to stop the board from hitting me in the back of the ankles was to just do a little pop of the board as if I was going to come back in. And that little ollie motion helped the board to flick off and not track straight back down into my ankles. Eventually, I committed to coming back in on a wing and a prayer, put all the weight on my back heel side wheel, and managed to hop and pop back in. I found that if I just squared my shoulders off, that helped the board to come back round. And I also remembered I needed to keep my knees a little bit soft to take the impact of coming back in. Well, that's it for this video. Let's recap the key points of the Frontside Smith Stall. So approach the transition with slightly bent knees, pump up the transition, and then go for the front side pivot. I found that if I pulled my front knee up a little bit more, it helped the wheels to miss the coping. Lock in on that heel side wheel just by bending the back leg a little bit. At the same time, square the shoulders across the coping whilst slightly extending the front knee, and that hopefully locks into the frontside Smith Stall position. Once everything's locked in and balanced off, it's just a case of pushing on that back heel whilst popping the front knee up a little bit in the air like an ollie. That helps everything to clear the coping, and simultaneously square the shoulders back into the ramp to complete the pivot back in. If you found this video helpful, let me know by leaving a comment below. And also, if you're new to the channel, you can feel free to hit subscribe. I make new videos like this every week. As ever, my name's been John Bishop, and I'm a middle-aged guy learning how to skate.